Welcome to this Red Bull Wololo Legacy matchup for Age of Empires 4. Today in this matchup we've got in the south corner of the map in yellow Kasva playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and his opponent in this set in the opening round of Red Bull Wololo Legacy will be Vortix playing in blue as the English. The map being 4 lakes, 2 civilizations which are pretty decent at hybrid maps, in particular the Holy Roman Empire having access to the prelate which buffs the villager gathering speed by 40%. Really packs a punch for the wood economy, means that he can get those fishing ships out nice and early from the dock, which is docked this southern pond here. Already 4 fishing ships out, which which Vortix has spotted with the scout, of course. Plenty of sheep there. But with Vortix also going for fishing economy, of course. With the English, they do have access to basically cheaper navy. Anything that comes out of the dock is cheaper for the English. As you can see, the fishing ship costing 67 wood there for the English. For the Holy Roman Empire, a little bit dearer at 75. And so the English able to make that bonus really count for themselves in the hybrid maps like we have today. As you can see, a very heavy focus on wood in the early game in the 4 lakes map. That's often the case. It's a bit slow to get going in this map. That's because of the heavy investment that both players have in the economy side of things on water. But once the economy does get rolling, things can get a bit crazy. And especially with the Holy Roman Empire, we shall see what Kasva decides to do strategy-wise. Does he go for a fast castle behind this? Go for an Arca Chapel on the other wood line, kind of far away from the other sources of resources, but he's going to be making sure he gets a bit of a boosting on this wood line here. Maybe a bit of a walling up there could offer him some protection. We shall see how he decides to play this one out. Looks like there's a dock here on the east side as well for the English. Double dock coming out for Vortix, really expanding his economy. That's kind of a nice touch. Also actually putting some palisade walls though, although he's getting munched to pieces by the wolves. Although the wolves do have now a leash mechanic in Season 3, or this recent update for Age of Empires 4. They don't follow the villagers the whole way. They do end up going back, and he's going to get these palisade walls just to want to try and prevent Kasva docking this pond if he can. Wants to maintain that. And looks like Kasva just sticking with the one pond for now, so it should mean that Kasva gets up to the next stage quicker, and that is indeed the case. Going up with 8 villagers on the Arcan Chapel. Almost there actually, and now going to be going up to the next stage. Vortix is with the Council Hall. With 6 villagers, so Council Hall and these 6 villagers will take a bit more time to build. Does mean Kaz will get to the feudal age a bit quicker. Looking to maybe get a second town centre now. 4 villagers on stone, and is going to be inspired by the Arcan Chapel. That's pretty important to note. Going to have wood and stone to get that second town centre. Kasva also placing some palisades along the shoreline, trying to prevent any enemy docking. Might still be able to sneak one in between the gaps though, I wonder. In any case, Kasva sends a scout on the north just to see what's what, see what's happening. And he does see what's happening. You'll see that Vortix is relatively kind of settled in his economy, mostly wood. A little bit of villagers on gold. I'm not sure if he sees this pond on the right side though for Kasva. That would be interesting to note if he does. There you have it. He doesn't see that. He's not aware of this Kasva at this point. That's a bit of vital information. There are some longbows popping out now for Vortix. Going to be putting some bit of pressure on the land, and Kasva does decide to wall up on the sides and on the front, giving him some protection there. Minimal investment with a lot of protection. Certainly a smart move. But you could possibly tell by the score as well. That's something that we have on this overlay. I'm not entirely sure if the players actually see the score. I suspect they probably don't, because that would give a lot of information. There's a second town centre going down from Kasva. Going to be getting a lot of villagers out of this. Going to be building that economy. Don't forget the economy is already a bit stronger with that 40% buff in gather speed for the prelate. Quite a good chance that Vortix is not aware of that. Probably unlikely to see that because of the walls in particular. He's going to chop through. Vortix sending a villager, cheeky villager. Kasva is aware of it. He's building palisades around that, but again, it could be another chop through. There's a longbow behind that. There's no textiles there for Kasva, it seems, at the moment. And so might potentially... Oh, just gets away with that one villager. Will be close though, because does manage to keep them out, but another villager will be chopping through, but there is a town centre offering protection now. Vortix will be aware of that second town centre, vital information. But despite Having a second town centre, the worker count looking better for Vortix. That's because of that second dock that's been up and running for quite some time. Double broadaxe coming in for Vortix, going to be boosting that wood economy even further. Going for gold now, Kasva. Kasva playing more of a macro approach, not the hyper aggression that we've come to expect or have seen Kasva do very often. Will Kasva go for a dock on the west pond? He is indeed doing that, so looking to get even more fishing economy up and running. Palisade wall in the southern area as well, wants to keep out the longbows, but the problem for Kasva is that he's going to be under pressure here. This dock is relatively exposed, doesn't have the palisade walls going across it to protect, and the longbow's going to try and snipe some of the fish, and that's actually going to be the case. Kasva going to lose a lot of fishing economy. This is something that Kasva needs to deal with. A demo ship might help, but Kasva needs to desperately deal with that because there's a lot of food economy kind of idle there. A lot of villagers on gold, possibly think he might get into the next stage. Doesn't have the food economy though, doesn't have the food amount he needs. That is a big concern. We'll be getting the arrow slits potentially in that dock. That would be ideal. He needs one. Go for a he's going for a galley first. Fishing ships coming. He might lose one. He's going to lose one there. The galley comes out. We'll be looking to get some value here, but the longbows take out another fishing ship. This is great value for Vortix. Not really expected. Going to pick off one or two longbows possibly. Doesn't manage to just yet. Yeah, now he does. There is a demo ship there keeping things active. And will Vortix send a sneaky village to try and dock? Not yet. Fishing economy back online, but the longbows heading through. There's no villagers garrisoned inside that town centre. That's a huge deal, but there are 5 villagers in that outpost. Vortix diving in. Will lose some units. Doesn't have an iron under mesh, but he's quite happy to dive. Economy looking still strong here for Vortix. 51 versus 50. Vortix now getting to the castle age behind that. That is a fantastic uptime, especially getting there ahead of the Holy Roman Empire. That's rather surprising. That is hugely surprising. Kasva kind of struggling. Couple of villagers, they're idled. It's because of that second town centre, but that early second dock was incredibly important for Vortix. Got that economy nice and early. He's going to be rushing that castle age himself now with 34 villagers. Kasva desperate for that castle age. Needs to deal with this. This longbow mass can't be running around his base for too long uncontested. Does have arrow slits in the outpost now. 5 villagers do come out of there. The trouble for Kasva, he is struggling for gold and massively. He'll get the Burger Palace, but will he be able to produce anything? That's the question. Where can he get access to gold? That is the key bit of detail. We'll have to venture out far and wide. There's no real safe access to gold here for Kasva. That is a huge concern. The longbow's got great value. A couple of man-at-arms coming out now for the English. Kasva looking to re-wall this position. But back up north, look at that, 4 barracks have been placed now for Vortix. He's looking to be hyper-aggressive. Now, the issue is that, well, Kasva had to invest in a landmark to get the equal production to this. Well, missing 1. The Burger Palace produces at the rate of 5 barracks, but Vortix is matching that at the moment. There's the blacksmith being put down by Kasva. Wants to get some upgrades for these man-at-arms. Looks like it's going to be man-at-arms versus man-at-arms. Kasva will have to upgrade his man-at-arms first. He's struggling on gold. Does have 14 villages on gold now to try and compensate. Don't forget, King's Palace has been used. That's the landmark of choice for the English and Vortix. That's another town centre, effectively. So the eco looking really, really sharp here for Vortix. Heading in now with the Castle Age man-at-arms, getting eco value here. Idling villagers, happy to dive underneath the town centre. Does have iron under mesh as well, so quite happy to do so. Here's the relic being brought in. Might try a Wololo potentially, but doesn't do so. Heading towards... Oh, he's trying the Wololo now, but will Vortix react? He does react. Is it in time? It is in time. The man-at-arms get out of there. A lot of villagers idled here. That's what the pressure is coming and causing. Man-at-arms are getting here on the right side. These are now Castle Age man-at-arms for Kasva, but he's struggling. He might lose this fight. He will lose this fight, and things might snowball from here. He's under pressure. He's still ahead on economy. But a lot of villagers have been idled for quite some time, and Vortix quite happy to dive this in. Diving in. Taking the better fights, you feel here, Vortix. But there are relics coming in for the Holy Roman Empire. That certainly helped things a little bit, although one has been picked up now by Vortix. As Vortix now decides to go for that gold vein, there is a relic inside that outpost, which will be boosting that outpost, certainly, by increasing the armor, damage, sight range, weapon range, and the gold generation continues. 100 gold per minute from that relic. And Arm's not going to get too much more value. Things are stabilizing a little bit now for Kasva, but he's still to be put under pressure again on the north. The issue for Kasva is that he's being pegged back. He's being pigeonholed in this small corner, this small area. Map control really is with Vortix at the moment. Could we see Vortix coming in with a keep? Now there's a question. Speaking of keeps, Kasva might be looking for one of his own. Almost 700 stone. Vortix not yet on the stone, it seems. Oh, I take that back. Vortix has got 7 villages on stone. He's thinking the same as I was. Maybe a keep might solidify his position. Picking up some relics. One relic deposited there, another in his grasp. Same can be said for Kasva. Fantastic opening to the set so far. A couple of crossbows being added by the English as well from 3 archer rangers. That'll certainly help the fight. A lot of infantry on the field. Maybe a mangonel or 2 might help Kasva. We'll see if he spots that archer range and the crossbows. Double blacksmith. Wants to get those upgrades quickly. There's that second relic coming in for the English and Vortix. Man at Arms heading through the stealth forest. Maybe look to get some value there. Now there's the archer rangers. Kasva spots it. Will Kasva decide to pop some stables down for some horsemen? We shall see. Bringing some relics into an outpost there on the forward wood line. The concern for Kasva is that both his wood lines are forward. Could Vortix decide for a very aggressive castle drop? We'll need some good standing army in order to do so. The army just crossing paths there through the stealth forest. Neither player attack moving. Man at Arms heading forward for Kasva, looking to try and idle some of the food economy in the form of farms. Getting good idle time here. Trouble for Kasva is that his reinforcements are being cut off. He's deciding to take a fight. This is not favourable for Kasva. He'll lose units here. Vortix taking a good fight there, but Vortix is being idled there by a lot of man-at-arms. A couple of man-at-arms being pulled on towards maybe taking out that dock on the west side. Lots of things going on. Army on either side's base. Good amount of reinforcements coming in for Kasva to clear up that forward force for Vortix. Vortix has this farming economy back online again. Crossbows will push that back. Possibly a Wololo. In fact, that relic's probably going to be taken out of the hands of that monk, that scholar. Trouble for Vortix is that he's fighting a battle here and he's kind of getting sandwiched in between the army. The army's chasing. Villagers are going towards that gold. Vortix will be aware of that now, though. That's vital information. Vortix might start to pressurize that point. A couple of defensive crossbows will be clearing up the man-at-arms. Economy safe again. Houses coming out there for Kasva, trying to avoid getting housed. Kasva's economy looking stronger now, though. 97 villagers. Good amounts of raiding damage has been done by Kasva, has to be said. Good amounts of production. Looks like Vortix capping the west side sacred site. Addition of the crossbows, a nice addition there for the English. That should offer a lot of control because he's going for forward keep here, Vortix, and he might just do it with the number of crossbows he has. Kasva doesn't have a response for that. He doesn't have a response for those crossbows. He can't really engage fully. He does have a better number of the man-at-arms, but he will struggle to fight this with the number of crossbows that are there. And I'm not sure if he can deny this keep. You won't see it just yet. Villagers are going to come in forward now, and this is a problem for Kasva. He's gone straight for man-at-arms because of the Burger Palace, but little does he know his opponent has crossbows, and good micro here for Vortix will be very useful. There is forced march, or marching drills rather, for the Holy Roman Empire, and this is a problem because the keep might go up. There are a lot of villagers building it, 12 of them. Another keep coming in for Kasva, going for a defensive keep. Vortix might cancel this. He's kind of being overrun here. The number of man-at-arms just overrunning this position, but Kasva is diving in and is losing a lot of the man-at-arms. Good micro here for Vortix. Trouble for Kasva. He's pushing this back, but at what cost? He's losing a lot of the man-at-arms. This is the direct counter unit, and Vortix might push this back, and if the man-at-arms do go down, then that leaves the villagers the chance to build that castle, and that might just happen here. It looks like Kasva losing too much here. Destruction value, as you can see, huge amounts there for Vortix. 8,500 versus the 7,800. This is not a fight that Kasva could win, but he's fighting it. This is a concern. He may have just misjudged this. Vortix on the back of this might just keep the villagers at hand. and try and build that keep. But he's going on the right side, he's building the keep. There are villagers there that could try and torch down the keep. Trouble is we're losing that fight in the north. 16 military versus 34. That's not a fight that Kasva could have taken, and he did. That might be the demise for Kasva. He's not noticed this just yet. He has not spotted this keep on the 2 gold veins. This could be the GG. This is a perfect position for that keep. This keep is an absolute wonder of a keep. Keep going defensively for aggressively for Kasva himself, trying to put pressure on that gold vein, but the trouble for Kasva, he's not denied as much as he's going to be denied, because he's denied 1 gold vein, but there's 2 gold veins here that he's actively taking from. Crossbows that are going to protect those villages. That keep is certainly going up, and now Kasva going to struggle for gold. What does he do against this? Vortix has temporarily been put off gold just for a moment. Let's have a couple of villages there on this side though, and he's well protected. He'll manage this. That keep aggressive for Kasva, not doing half the damage that Vortix one is doing here on the right side. As you can see, that is huge. That has cut off a lot of access to gold. There's also another gold vein on this right side. I think this match comes down to that keep placement. Kasva's going to have to try and protect this area here on the north, and it's not ideal to be taking a forward gold just like that. But on the back of this, Vortix's economy, he's looking strong. 90 villagers versus 78, or at least 90 workers versus 78, because it includes the fishing ships. He does have this west side sacred site as well. Economy looking strong here for the English and Vortix. I feel like the game is now swinging back in the favour of Vortix again. Good opening game to the set. More villagers being idled. Man-at-Arms diving in there. Good value, keeping 8 villagers idle though. We see a trebuchet coming out now for Vortix. He should be able to defend this position. Take back that position with that trebuchet to take care of the keep. And the trouble for Kasva is he's still going on with the Man-at-Arms. He's going to be getting some lance connector in there as well, but just feels like he needs to transition here. Wololo going off. Doesn't get any units though. But 53 military versus 37. It comes down to Kasva trying to push that keep placement there for Vortix. He lost a lot of Man-at-Arms to the micro crossbows from Vortix. Just feels like he's going to struggle to recover from that, because there is 2 trebuchets now on the field. This keeper's not going to stay alive for too much longer, you feel. Kasva will need some springholds, but doesn't have the huge amounts of gold to do so. Looks like Vortix slowly getting control of this game. 20 minutes on the clock. This keep might go down soon. Kasva is looking to neutralise the sacred site on the west side though with the prelate. Will we see more trebuchets coming out? 2 already so far. Keep almost half health. Is being repaired though by 6 villagers. That'll drain the stone count for Kasva. Has plenty of stone in the bank though. Uh-oh, there's a 3rd trebuchet. Better get those workers building and repairing. Oh, Man-at-Arms trying to take care of these villagers, but finding underneath the keep. There's no boiling oil. There is the Imperial Age for Kasva. Does have the potential to get Palace of Swabia. That most likely is the landmark. We'll just need to double check that and confirm. Does have... where is that landmark though? That's the question. In any case, that keep is being pushed back. He's building up a bit of an army on the right side. Has plenty of food economy on the west there, Kasva. Got the Palace of Swabia there on the wood line. So we'll be able to build up that economy again with the villager count, but the trouble is he's quite far behind on military, that is for sure. 66 versus 34, the trouble for Kasva as well. He doesn't have any ranged units, and the ranged units for Vortix will be doing wonders. Gold being taken underneath his nose. Oh, lots of idle villagers here for Kasva. Looks like he's being pushed off that gold, and Kasva is struggling now. Let's have a look at the villager. Yeah, he has literally 0 villagers on gold here, Kasva. He's not going to be able to maintain production of those Man-at-Arms, even though he's got to the Imperial Age. These are elite Man-at-Arms, but again, he's just facing up against crossbows, and he's never really transitioned into a counter. There is a relic inside that outpost, but I'm sure Vortix won't mind that. He'll be able to torch that down pretty quickly. There are 8 villagers garrisoned inside that Palace of Swabia. Trouble is, emergency repairs comes in, but looks like the outpost might go down. In fact, it doesn't go down. He managed to keep it alive. Kasva is trying to push this back, but he's going to struggle. Vortix is fighting this. A couple of lance connector in there, but not too many. That relic gets taken out of that outpost. That's even less gold for Kasva. Here comes the aggression here. Vortix pushing on in the Castle Age. Kasva struggling for military numbers. I think Vortix is going all in here for the Castle Age. He's spending everything he's got, and who could blame him? He feels he can win this. He smells blood. This might be the beginning of the end for Kasva. He's fighting underneath the town centre and the outpost in the Palace of Swabia, but he's still losing the fight. The crossbows, just looks like Kasva running out of ideas here. Gone for full highly armoured units plus a couple of lance connector. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough though. Crossbows are behind, getting good value. The outpost does get taken down. That means the relic won't be capturing that gold passively anymore. And he already is struggling for gold. Got 13 villages on gold somewhere. Probably on the west side, maybe somewhere. In any case, he's struggling because when the units do come out of the Burger Palace, they're being sniped continuously. There's the Imperial Age for Vortix, and that is bad news for Kasva, because now Vortix can match his army with the upgrades once he does get them now. Kasva's economy struggling, even with the Palace of Swabia. 102 villagers versus 113. 3 trebuchets being pulled away, doesn't want to get that sniped by the man-at-arms. Kasva needs to deal with that though if he can. Man-at-arms going to try and dive that position. Does take care of 1 trebuchet. Might potentially get 2, but nope. Villagers coming out to repair. Going for stone here on the north. There is an outpost there on the west side as well. Looks like that's the position that Kasva wants to maintain. It does have a sacred site on the western side, but he's certainly struggling. Getting a keep in between the 2 wood lines, trying to hold on for now. The one thing about the Holy Roman Empire is they can certainly boom back with that Palace of Swabia. Keep has been completed. Crossbows looking to take out the retreating man-at-arms, and there's a keep going in the stealth forest there. That is very strong for Vortix. Villagers going right into the heart of the base, maybe going for a keep drop on that dock. That's actually a nice position, could idle a lot of farms, but will Vortix react to it? It looks like he has. He spotted it. Army is heading that direction. This is one last try, you feel. Kasva doesn't have textiles. That's a big problem. He's trying to get it now, but villagers will go down in the meantime. That is huge. Crossbows on the front line for Vortix, pushing the army back. There's still a keep there with the 8th relic there, so Kasva is holding on, losing villagers there on the west side of that gold. That is huge. Gold income a problem for Kasva, has 0 villagers on gold at the moment. Keep does go up, but there's no real defenses there. A couple of siege units for Vortix will wipe that out. 2 trebuchets taking some houses out. Those 2 trebuchets might get taken out by the army that's there, but that army will be vulnerable to the keep fire. There's no boiling oil in the north. That keep survived. No boiling oil there. There we are. There's some trebuchets there. 2 of them will take that keep out, and that aggression is not very coordinated. It's there, but it's doing some damage, but it's going to be taken out and halted. As we see now, Vortix going for the forward gold there. Getting a lot of map control with that keep, that is for sure. Keep for Kasva will go down. You feel like that might be the last push. Lance Connector taking a lot of those villagers though. That's a good win there for Kasva for sure. 160 villagers versus 98, and Kasva not able to continue, not able to catch up. Despite having the Palace of Swabia, losing loads of villagers there on the north. All those villagers go down, that is huge. They were more or less trapped. Longbows now coming out for the English. A good keep there with, I think that has a cannon in place, which we'll have to see. Sacred Site on the right side being decapped there by Kasva, although, yep, just by 1 unit there, decapping it. Things have settled down again. But certainly economy looks much stronger for Vortix. 1,200 food and 800 wood and 500 gold almost. Things looking good here for Vortix. Crossbows here, going to be taking out a couple of Lance Connector. If they can take the Lance Connector, they'll be safe. Man-at-arms can't get too close. Not enough of them anyway. Sacred Site on the right side has been decapped. But this is such a strong keep here for Vortix. Doesn't have a network of citadels just yet. But with enclosures, this game could become a little bit tricky for Kasva. There is enclosures there already. The gold trickle will be coming in very nicely for Vortix. Late game is the domain for the English. Especially when they get enclosures, they get free gold, and that's one thing that Kasva's struggling. He's got 43 villages on gold somewhere. He needs that gold income. That is there on the west, but once that gold runs out, which it won't for a while, we'll be in trouble if he runs out of gold. Because there's no way the English run out of gold, I'm afraid. Kasva does have 2 relics, but the 3 relics there for Vortix. So he's winning that department as well, and that forward keep, such a strong staging ground. Walling up now is Vortix, protecting his economy. Knows that if he goes to the super late game, he will be emerging victorious. And 2 trebuchets, 3 trebuchets with crossbows, and it looks like Kasva struggling. 41 army. They're mostly home. They're being pinned in. And if Vortix spots this on the west side, which he doesn't just yet, although he knows there's something there. Man-at-Arms engaging. There's a spring on placement on that outpost. 3 trebuchets might be becoming a problem here for Kasva. Army heading forwards for Vortix. He's quite happy to push forward now. It has been population capped for a bit. There is a relic inside that keep, but Vortix decides to head in forward anyway. Snipes the villager with the knight, heads back home. Fighting underneath the keep, he doesn't mind. He knows that if he can contain this position, he's got 2 to 3 trebuchets there. And he's engaging. He's going to torch down the keep. Keep doesn't have boiling oil, I think, there for Kasva. That is a huge problem. Does have emergency repairs, so we'll buy up some more time. The crossbows here can do good work against the man-at-arms. There are a couple of land skeleton in there, so those units won't want to get too close to them. Spread formation comes out for Vortix. That prolongs the life of his units. There we are. They're glowing. They have the access to the network of castles bonus there. Not network of citadels just yet. It takes an engagement here, and I think it's Kasva. This is going to be a losing fight for him. Doesn't have the number of units he needs. Does have Lance Connector. If they get up and close and personal, could do some work, but the spread formation is there. And looks like Vortix going to head further back. The keep is on fire. Villagers coming out to repair. Emergency repair cooldown nowhere near. He does lose that keep. Insufficient stone comes out as well, and it feels like Kasva is going to lose a lot of units here. Fighting underneath the keep here, the English keep, that is not ideal. But he needs to find a way to get rid of the trebs. Those trebs are moving forward. Siege pushing forward now. Kasva is struggling. That is for sure. Probably lacking in the gold there. Still has half gold there on that gold vein, so we'll be able to survive for a bit longer, but you feel like it's just a matter of time. Kasva in game number 1 is under a lot of pressure on 4 legs. Will he be able to hold on for any longer? As the longbows head forward now. And picking off villagers underneath farms. The Palace of Swabia is going to be the next to go, and if that goes, the ability to reboom will be hampered for the Holy Roman Empire. One last push here with the units. 26 army for the Holy Roman Empire. Against 60 is not going to be enough, you feel. Villagers coming out, but they will be slain by the longbows. But that outpost coming in, going to be extending the range of the network of castles bonus that he has there, the English. The army just overwhelming here for Kasva. Palace of Swabia goes down. Trebuchets in behind. Kasva holding on for as long as he can, but it feels like a losing battle at this point. Especially with enclosures for the English, and their outpost does go up and extends that range of that buff that the English get. Network of castles, increasing the attack speed. And there it is. There's the GG. Kasva taps out on game number 1. Vortix takes the first game on 4 legs, and Kasva will need a response. He's got one opportunity to do it in game number 2, which is coming up next. Welcome to game number 2 between Kasva and Vortix, and we have got Vortix playing the south corner of the map in blue as the French, and Kasva playing on the north in yellow as the Ottomans on Dry Arabia. A fascinating matchup. Lots to be learned about the new civilization, especially with the Ottomans being one of the new civilizations in the new DLC for Age of Empires 4. Okay, a little bit of a pause there. Just apologies for that. You may have noticed I have just switched over the overlay, made Vortix on the left side of the overlay and Kasva on the right. Just makes it a lot easier as a viewing experience, of course. And because we do technically have Kasva just about on the eastern side of the map compared to Vortix at least, and makes it a bit easier to view as we see an instant military school for the Ottomans. A nice touch there. I like this build. I do actually have an instant military school build order on the channel for the Ottomans, something I've been working and looking very interested in trying out myself, and it looks like a lot of the pro players are doing the same, especially against French, because the military school is one of these buildings for the Ottomans that constantly produces units, and in the Dark Age you can get spearmen, and well, that's a fantastic counter to the French Royal Knight. This makes the French Royal Knights kind of a little bit useless at the beginning unless you use the mobility, which is certainly an option, but it's really nice to have those spears on hand to just protect your economy, or even pile on the pressure, because where is the gold vein for Vortix and the French is in the back, and that's actually very handy for Vortix. If the gold was on the front lines, that would be a bit more exposed to those spearmen, and it would mean that, of course, Vortix would have to transition into an archery range. Now, with Vortix winning that first game on 4 legs, this does mean Kasva needs a response in this second game out of the best of 3, because he doesn't, that will mean that Vortix takes the set, as we see a spearman already popping out 2 minutes into the game, looking to harass the opponent. But School of Cavalry is the landmark of choice as the French. No surprises there, going with 3 villages to build it. And if Kasva plays his cards right, it does mean that any early knight coming out won't be able to hopefully do too much damage. But we've seen in other games, especially with this matchup, that the gold being back is really helpful for the French. It shouldn't be the case that even if he is pushed off, he'll essentially have enough gold, at least for wheelbarrow and even maybe 1 or 2 knights. If the gold vein was on the front lines though, that would have been a whole different picture, because the spearman would probably be there by now. As we see that mill going up with 1 villager, looks like it's going to be an early wheelbarrow for the French. The Ottomans behind this should get a decent time up themselves, looking to almost get there very soon. Sending a villager to stone, maybe looking to get a second military school once he does get to the feudal age. That's the option to maybe get a second town centre, especially something to match the French if that's what they do. There's the twin minaret madrasa, the landmark of choice now. We have seen this matchup before, the French and the Ottomans on Dry Arabia. It was Marine Lord versus Iron Magic. I'm not going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, that was an amazing set. That third game on Dry Arabia between Marine Lord and Iron Magic on Dry Arabia. This particular Civ matchup was the 3rd game out of the best of the 3. So do check it out. I have got it on the YouTube playlist. It's a fantastic set, it's a fantastic game. You certainly want to watch it. And we do see the spearman now harassing the villagers on gold, but you can imagine if that gold is on the front lines, the spearman would have harassed those villagers a lot earlier, would have meant a lot less gold collected. Vortix just microing and bringing back home the weak villagers. Twin Minaret Madrasa, a nice landmark for the Ottomans. It acts as a mill, but also grows 4 berry bushes, which can be harvested 50% faster. The berry bushes also regrown after 120 seconds if they get depleted. A bit surprising not to see the Twin Minaret Madrasa on the berries themselves. Now, obviously, it's a bit risky, especially if the knights come in, but he would have spears to defend with, so it's a bit surprising that he didn't build the Twin Minaret Madrasa there on the berries. It's certainly safer though, next to the town centre, of course. With 4 villages on stone, still yet to be determined whether he's going for a second military school or a second town centre. We'll have to see. Getting double broad axe now. Kasva investing in those eco upgrades does push Vortix off of the gold. Does get a Royal Knight out of that School of Cavalry nonetheless. Looking to put some pressure on. Let's have wheelbarrow now as well, Vortix. With the French traditional build, it's going to be a second military school. It does keep 4 villages on stone, so maybe thinking about a 3rd military school once the Vizier point comes in for the Ottomans eventually. Possibly a second town centre. I suspect it'll be a second town centre because to match this second town centre expansion plan for Vortix, 8 villages on stone. Going for a barracks. Going for Sipahi. Going for Sipahi from the military school and Spearman from the barracks. Royal Knight just keeping an eye on things. Doesn't look like a second town centre on the menu for Kasva. Pulled those villagers away. Might be the case that Kasva is looking to be aggressive then in the feudal age. Certainly something that the Ottomans do very well. They can be very aggressive in the feudal age. If Kasva's not careful, if he does let the French economy get out of hand, that could become a problem. The French town centres do run faster and produce villages faster, as you can see. That's the reason why he's got 26 villages versus the 23. As we see a blacksmith going down, that will be a nice bit of a boost there for the Ottomans. Now the blacksmith, you might be wondering what does that do for the Ottomans? Well, it increases the production speed for these military buildings, whether it be the barracks, a stable, arch range, military school. As long as within the influence of the barracks, it helps. Spearmen looking to try and protect those villagers' retreat, but trouble for the Ottomans now, the archers are involved. So Vortix will be looking to micro down those spears with the archers if he can. Now Vortix is incredibly strong with the French. We saw him play this civilization so much on the road to Bull Wololo Legacy. And this is one of I'd say a comfort pick almost for Vortix. He knows the French inside out, and he's going to get a town centre on the deer patch there. Quite comfortably it was as well. It's not something that Kasva can really punish at this point. He's sending more villagers out to stone again to continue getting that stone for a second town center himself. Does have 234 in the bank, so was certainly looking to get that second town center. Will be delayed to it though, at least compared to his opponent, and gonna need to try and make the military count here. That's only 8 military compared to 7, and it just feels like he should have more, especially because he's getting 3 units, but kind of struggling. He lost a couple of units, I think, early on. Let's just take a look, actually. See destruction value, 130. Yeah, must have killed something. Vortix there. As we see, army trickling forward now. Villagers going on the west side towards that deer pack and that wood line for Kasva. Looking to get that second town center, but again, he'll only be able to just about keep up. Still be outproduced in terms of villagers. Now, if he's not going to be able to maintain the economy versus his opponent, he's going to need to do some aggression, get some aggression going. Get some value on that front. Second town center, still not running there for Kasva. Okay, looks like the French are going to be aggressive in the feudal age. A second stable coming down. Well, a stable to accompany the School of Cavalry at least. And an archery range. Second archery range. He has one, of course, somewhere. There it is. Double archery range, double stable effectively. Vortix looking to be aggressive in the feudal age with the economy to back it up as well. Clean build for him. Has double broadaxe. No wheelbarrow there for Kasva though. Just by having the twin Madresse is something that he could afford as well, but he's just not getting it. That might be a bit of an oversight potentially. As the knight heads around the north just to see what he can find. Gonna run into a group of spearmen though. Why you engage? Knight almost gets taken out. But the Zabahi will continue the chase. This knight should go down. I suspect that'll be the case. We shall see. Will he turn around and fight? I'm sure that knight's a goner. Chivalry won't help him now. There is no chivalry for Vortix just yet anyway. And there he goes. That knight does perish. Good pick off there for Kasva. Military counts pretty similar. Kasva looking to wall up the west side, give him a bit of space, give a bit of time and space to grow into the economy. Double archery range and 2 military schools. Going for a meth there now. That's actually going to help. These meth are very important, very useful. Can increase the attack speed or give you melee armor or archer armor. Bloomery coming in as well for Vortix, of course. Just by the fact that he gets a blacksmith, he'll get Bloomery for free there, the French. Getting steeled arrow as well to upgrade his archers. Might be looking to be a bit aggressive soon. Villager lead starting to climb up a little bit, 5 ahead. Small difference, but those small differences can escalate, especially over time. Scout being kept on the front lines with those knights just to give the extra vision there for Vortix. The knights aren't very good in terms of vision, but that scout's certainly helping. Couple of spearmen, couple of Sipahi. Going for another military school, the third military school there for the Ottomans for some more free units. Question is, will Vortix try and be aggressive before then? It looks like he is. Might even possibly deny this military school. Spearman kept there on the front lines of Kasva. He spots it. Knows the aggression is coming in now. It's heading towards the north. Archer staying in behind. Vortix looking to split up his army. Looking to almost dive in there. Spearman heading that position between the woodline and the town centre. Keeps him safe. Kasva walling up this eastern border. That's going to actually funnel everything in. The concern for Kasva is that if a ram rush does come in, if a push does come in, all his production buildings are forward, and that pressurizes things, that's for sure. And you certainly sense that Vortix is being aggressive. As I say that, he's building his first ram on the field. Kasva's going to need to fortify. But with the 3 military schools, he's holding on in terms of at least trying to balance the economy, or at least match the economy. The free units will certainly help, but as we see the first run come in, Kasva's going to need to make advantage of his defender's advantage. It'll be interesting to see what Vortix goes for. Does he go for the barracks? Blacksmith, rather, he does. He could go for the production buildings, but if he takes out the blacksmith, that will reduce the production speed of all these production buildings, and it just shows Vortix's awareness of the civilization and the bonuses that the Ottomans get. Focusing on the blacksmith to affect all the other buildings. Archers engaging against the spears, the spearmen diving in. Ram is exposed. Sipahi maybe looking to take that down. Nope, the Sipahi do turn back around and fight again. They are being influenced by Mehter. But Vortix smells blood, and he's going to push. He has a large number of knights. Kasva doesn't want to take this fight, and he heads back. Loses a lot of units though, because the archers, they just stand and fight. There's 2 rams on the field now. They're garrisoning inside the ram as well. The 2 rams here. This forces Kasva to spend precious wood on relocating his production buildings. This is a problem. That wood could be spent on units, and rather he's losing his production buildings. And it's all coming down to the fact that production buildings are forward. And Kasva doesn't want to engage yet because he feels like he can't win the fight. But every second he delays, he loses more production buildings. The knights head in to act as a meat shield of the archers. Sipahi try and get some value. The good number of spearmen. The spearmen are a bit too late to the fight. The archer's going to focus on the spearmen, and the Ottomans not getting in a position that they need to be. Vortix microing this incredibly well. The former StarCraft 2 player, well, maybe even still playing it, but in any case, his micro is on point. Knights are heading in as a meat shield. Spearmen are trying to engage, but not getting a clean engagement. Archers focusing on the spears. Problem for Kasva now is the spearmen are all going down. The lack of spearmen, those knights are going to run riot. This is a problem for Kasva. Army numbers are dwindling. Rams took out that other military school. Mehter is going to be exposed. The Mehter is taken down. The attack speed buff goes down. Knights are going to be trying to catch up to that Mehter. Knights are pressuring in. The Mehter does get taken down. And this is a problem now for Kasva because his town centre is being sat upon by the knights. Going to just come out, going to try and take out the ram, but at what cost? They come out temporarily to get slayed by those archers, and this is a problem for Kasva. This is a game too far. I feel like Vortix is really going to be able to double down from this position. Going to be taking out the other military school. This is a problem for Kasva. He needs to deal with this somehow. Doesn't have the military on the field. Only has 8 versus 36. I feel like the GG will be incoming. Vortix playing this incredibly well with the French, and he does. He wins game number 2. Vortix wins the set. This first set that he's played in Red Bull Wololo Legacy. What a fantastic game. We had a good game in 4 Lakes, but if you want to see more from Red Bull Wololo Legacy, do check out the playlist by clicking the right-hand card screen now. Take care, and see you next time.